It is just soil, but at minus 50 degrees, it turns into something as hard as solid metal. And now a routine ritual, like laying someone to rest, has become an incredibly extreme and difficult task. My words might sound strange, but there is a land in this world where unity is a supreme blessing not granted to everyone. For those who are blessed with it, the practitioners of the world's most difficult profession, the Siberian Guards, provide assistance. Calling these jobs difficult doesn't even begin to cover the reality. They are truly brutal. You need context to grasp just how hard they are. In winter, temperatures here drop to minus 50 or 60 degrees. In such cold, boiling water turns to ice, and a banana left out for 5 minutes becomes a solid rock. Throughout the entire winter, cars are never turned off. Deep underground, the permafrost reigns supreme. That is the reason why no houses in this city have basements. Every house is built upon concrete stilts. Because in this country, digging even a single meter of ground is like trying to bite through iron. Since there is permafrost underground, digging becomes an incredibly difficult and arduous task. And the second most difficult job in the world that I want to show you is directly related to this.
A grave takes 3 days to dig. For instance, if we get an order today, it's dug today, tomorrow, and the day after. And on the 4th day, we bury.
This is 30-year-old Vadim Torshtukov, the youngest seer in Yakutia.
As soon as the order comes in on the first day, we mark out the grave's outline. Then we check the soil condition. If it allows for further digging, we carve it out. If the soil turns out to be problematic and the ground is muddy, or in the language of grave diggers, if it's sneakers,
Are those sneakers then?
Yes, sometimes the ground turns out layered, mottled, and hard. It is just like a pair of sneakers. That is why we call it that. Believe it or not, when things get really crazy, we even have to stay and work through the entire night. Right there in the car. Now, I want you to just imagine the situation. You wouldn't drive 100 kilometers back to the city just to get some sleep, would you?
In other parts of the world, digging a grave takes only 2 hours of work, but not in brutal Siberia. In this frozen land, digging every centimeter is a battle against the permafrost. First, the outline of the grave is marked, then the ground is thoroughly heated for 3 to 4 hours using firewood or coal, because without heating, it is impossible to break through the earth. The digging of the heated ground begins with a special device, a pneumatic hammer. This tool works just like a hammer drill. The loosened pieces of earth are removed with a shovel. This process is repeated until the required depth is reached. In Yakutia, this is up to 1.5 to 2 meters.
We can't always manage to dig down 2 full meters. And sometimes, when we're behind schedule, we just settle for 1.5. As I said, it depends on the soil, and in harsh winters, heavy equipment often freezes or breaks down.
Excuse me, what is your name? Dima, tell me, isn't your job quite difficult?
Everything is perfectly fine,
quite
really.
bearable.
Yeah, we are just managing to hang in there.
Could you please provide me with a document that explains the process of digging a grave?
Now you can see the whole truth for yourself.
If I am distracting you from your work, please feel free to go ahead and leave.
How should I put this? It's not that I'm getting sidetracked. I could keep talking, but as you can see, it's a bit chilly here to stand around and talk.
It's a bit chilly out there. It is minus 50 degrees.
Yeah, I don't think I'm really in the mood for talking right now.
How long have you been doing this?
I first got started back in 2013. That was when I was in the 8th or 9th grade.
Wow, you've been at this since the 8th grade, is that right? But I imagine people might wonder, why would a young, vibrant guy like you choose to pursue such a, shall we say, rather unique field?
I was young back then. I needed to earn money while I was in school. I was offered a job at the cemetery. I came here to make a little living, and I ended up staying.
Did you have any different plans when you were a child? For example, some people dream of becoming a doctor.
No, back when I was just a small child, I would spend my time daydreaming about what I might eventually become. That was really all there was to it. I have grown so accustomed to my profession that at this point in my life, I feel like a fish swimming in the water. To me, all of this is the vast, open sea, and I am the fisherman.
Can you describe a specific time in your career when you were unable to finish a project or task before the deadline?
It's truly unfortunate, but these things happen from time to time, I'm afraid. You panic when faced with such situations. Honestly, we just handled an urgent job like that recently.
Shit, the grave really needs to be finished as quickly as possible. Suddenly, they get a call from Gokovmen saying that the outboinik has broken down. It is already 5 o'clock in the morning. They were really racking their brains trying to figure out exactly what they should do. Most equipment rental shops in town don't even open until 8 or 9. You really have to understand the urgency. The burial ceremony had to be finished by 10 o'clock sharp, so I called every colleague I knew, woke them up, and 5 or 6 of us finally managed to get it done. We all decided to pitch in, grabbed our shovels, and we kept on digging away until the break of dawn. And then, the relatives of the deceased showed up and asked us, what on earth happened? Why exactly aren't you finished with the job yet? So, they started pressuring us, saying, yeah, you've already taken the money. Please understand, this isn't a human error. The soil turned out to be problematic. We tried to reach a compromise, explaining that it was beyond our capacity. Some people just don't want to understand. They immediately start a fight, threatening to report us and making all sorts of threats. It's certainly an unpleasant situation, but not everyone is like that. Many people understand too.
In 2023, first crematorium is opening in Yekaterinburg, a facility that incinerates human remains into ash. It was launched as an alternative to traditional burial, as space in Yekaterinburg cemeteries is becoming increasingly scarce. It is a highly paradoxical situation. In vast Yakutia, which is equal in size to India, there is almost no land left suitable for burial.
Not everyone is a fan of cremation. Because of religious beliefs, many consider it a sin and prefer to be buried. But others, on the contrary, don't want to rot in a grave. That is why they request cremation in their wills. However, because of the permafrost here, the body never decomposes. It stays preserved, just like a mummy.
The Saka are the indigenous people of the vast region of Yakutia. Though they are officially Orthodox, they also practice the Ayi faith, which is deeply centered on the natural world. Yakutia also hosts a large Muslim population, mainly migrants from Central Asia, specifically from Uzbekistan and Tajikistan.
When we dig graves for Muslims, they ask us to include a separate side niche. However, in these specific cemeteries, because the ground is dry and sandy, we cannot do that as the soil might collapse. That is why we have to dig them just like the others. Muslims bury their dead wrapped in a shroud without a coffin, and the relatives place the deceased in the grave themselves. They don't hand the body over to us. We just dig and prepare the grave. They place the body in the grave and bury it themselves.
Are there many Muslims around here?
Sure that there's enough space, but not everyone is buried here. Usually they load them onto transport and take them back to their homelands, like Kazakhstan or Uzbekistan. But if they were born and raised here, they are buried here. We are going to need to dig 3 graves at our destination. They are located in 3 completely different villages. The distance between each site is 50 to 100 kilometers. It will take 2 hours to travel from one village to the next. It took us 4 long hours to get here from the city. We are required to finish all 3 graves within 3 days.
Another interesting question. When you're digging graves in the village, where do you go to the bathroom?
It is located just a little bit further down the street. Yeah, why don't you go ahead and head over there to pick it up?
But it is freezing cold out there. It is minus 40 degrees.
Physical training must be performed.
Yeah. Meaning you need to be physically prepared. Life hack. We've been on the road for about 4 hours. We're heading to a tiny little village because we got an order to dig a grave there. And the order might sound strange, of course, but that's exactly what they call it here. The roads are just a nightmare. There is a fire burning deep down inside of that open grave. To be perfectly honest with you, it is a truly chilling sight to behold. Alright, it is now 6 o'clock in the evening. The temperature outside is currently well below -40. We have arrived at a small village about 120 kilometers from where we were, and a grave is currently being dug here. It has been 3 days now, and we arrived here just after the very first day. The main thing is that Vadim rented a special tool, something like a jackhammer, and brought it all the way here, because it is absolutely impossible to get the job done without it. You simply cannot dig through this ground using only a shovel. To start, the entire area is heated very thoroughly indeed. As you can see, they have heated it quite well using a mix of coal and wood. The whole heating process took about 3 to 4 hours to finish up, and now with a hammer drill they have cleared the coal and are currently using that specific tool, a heavy duty jackhammer. Correct, now they are utilizing specialized pieces of heavy equipment to dig significantly deeper into the ground. They have already managed to reach a depth of about 1 full meter so far. They need to dig at least 1 more meter before the morning arrives, because the burial ceremony is to take place at the break of dawn. There are 3 of them working in rotating shifts. One person digs while another one of them tries to get some sleep inside the car. And then once he arrives at his workplace, his partner just sleeps inside the car. That is exactly how they manage to finish the job by the time morning comes. In this kind of weather, in this absolute, truly crushing darkness, if you get what I mean, there is absolutely nothing at all around us out here. I mean, it is just complete and total darkness. All around us there is nothing but endless snow, towering trees, distant stars, and this biting freezing air. And beyond this there is absolutely nothing else to be found. I realize that this might come across as a rather peculiar and perhaps even unsettling question, but have you ever found yourself in the position of having to dig a grave for your own dear loved ones? I mean, I don't know, perhaps for your own close relatives?
Yes, that is of course true. I have seen my own father.
Just as Vadim reached the age of 18, his father suddenly fell gravely ill and became completely bedridden. Unfortunately, his mother could not cope with the mounting hardship and eventually decided to abandon them both.
She said to me, "You need to take care of your father's affairs all by yourself, but please do not bother me with them." But no matter what has happened, I am truly not upset with my mother.
For 7 years, our protagonist has been caring for his father all on his own. Their only source of income is the 32,000 rubles his father receives for his first-degree disability.
We also had a mortgage we were obligated to pay. 15,000 went to the mortgage, 5,000 for monthly rent, plus medicine and other necessary expenses. Out of a 32,000 income, we were left with only 7,000 for our daily living and food.
Would a total of 7,000 rubles be sufficient for both of you?
Yes, if that is what you would like, it can certainly be arranged. We could prepare things like eggs, dumplings, pasta, and various other dishes.
Yeah, I honestly used to believe that your line of work was the absolute hardest thing in the entire world. But when you really stop to think about it, I suppose your own fate isn't exactly easy either.
I suppose you could put it that way. I was truly heartbroken when my father passed away. I cried so bitterly. He breathed his last right there in my arms. But I knew this day would come eventually. Most importantly, I have no regrets. I am so glad that I was with my father until the very last moment, that he passed away in my arms instead of somewhere else, and that I was able to say my most beautiful words to him.
Все самые добрые, самые вот слова, которые хотел сказать, я это все говорил. То есть у меня таких даже упущенных моментов нету.
For example, many people regret not spending enough time together, or not being able to say I love you. But my dad knew, no matter what happened, I made sure to tell him often that I was there for him and that I loved him very much, always offering him encouragement. There is really nothing so bad about the illness you are currently facing. I used to tell myself, I am going to be just fine. My father, however, always used to say that life truly begins at 45. Many people also used to tell me, Miteis, you looked after your father for such a long time and you went through so many difficult hardships and trials. Truly, not everyone could have endured that war. But you know, if everyone in this world had a father just like mine, they would undoubtedly have been looked after and cared for in the exact same way that I was. Yes, he was truly such a kind and gentle soul. My dad and I used to spend hours playing PlayStation together all the time. He would always take me out hunting and fishing, and he would patiently teach me everything he knew. The thing that I remember most clearly about them is that I truly believe even during those final days when they were completely bedridden, they must have never once stopped smiling at us. Bringing up infants is without a doubt the most difficult part of this job. I can tell you, young parents often reach out to me and ask me, our little child has passed away, could you please dig a grave for us? We never charge for our professional services when it comes to the burial of any children under the age of 7.
Oh, it's free for children under 7?
Yes, we are going to take care of all the expenses for you right from the start. The net profit for 2 people digging a single grave comes out to about 15,000 rubles. That's a rough estimate anyway. It really depends on what our overhead expenses look like. Things like fuel, our meals, the tools and other incidentals. Plus, we're currently spending extra money to stock up on coal.
Have you ever happened to find anything truly unusual while you were out there digging a grave?
No. Yeah, I remember back then we stumbled upon a fossilized mammoth tooth. It was roughly this big, I don't know, maybe 70 centimeters or so in length. We were so thrilled when we discovered it, thinking we could turn it in and earn a bit of extra cash. But after we checked it, it turned out that it really wasn't worth much money at all.
Are mammoth tusks really as cheap as that?
It turns out it's graded, no Nemirani. Yeah, the one we found was 4th or 5th grade. It wasn't in great shape. We took it to get checked and they said it would be 5 or 6,000 rubles. But in our heads, we were already millionaires.
Indeed, mammoths once inhabited the regions of modern-day Russia, Siberia, and Kamchatka. In fact, Siberia is recorded as the place where the largest number of mammoths lived. Because of this, our protagonist's discovery isn't all that surprising for this region. Is receiving tips a normal part of your job? That must be quite pleasing, right?
What can you say? It makes you grateful. We wait after burials to see if we get a tip. Usually they give us vodka. Yes, vodka. Sometimes money too. 2 or 3,000 rubles. Maybe even 10,000. A colleague once buried 2 people in one day. Both gave an extra 10,000. That's very rare.
Why is vodka served?
Maybe it's become a habit.
Or is that the goal to track them all down? Do
That
you
could be
truly
the
find
case.
pleasure in giving them bottles of vodka?
Honestly, I don't like it. The people are always telling me, you're young, why are you wasting your life in this graveyard? But if not me, then who? Someone has to do this job after all.
Oh, you know what? Before I came here, I was going to ask every single one of you why you are still living here. Why you don't just pack up and move out already. But now that I have finally come, I truly understand. And I've talked to all sorts of people and realized that my question was really simple and naive. It's like going to Tashkent and asking, well, why are you still living in this polluted air? Why don't you just move away? Sure, there's some truth to that question. But the answer isn't just to pack everything up, throw it in a suitcase, and leave. Because after all, what does homeland even mean? A true homeland isn't about physical comforts, the weather, or a number on a thermometer. No, it's defined by the streets of your childhood, the people dear to your heart, and your unforgettable memories. It's the same for the resilient people living here. This harsh environment and biting colds are their norm, and they truly love it. Our show's heroes have proven that to be absolutely true. Yakutia isn't just a place where people live, it lives deep inside the hearts of its people. I sincerely hope you're watching this from somewhere nice and warm. If you'd like to support our project, you'll find all the links below this video. Thank you so much for your time and your kind support.